It's interesting how all of this fluff and all of these opinion pieces and all of this stuff about Death Stranding, while people are, enjoying themselves with the game, while the reviews just hit, while it's sitting on an 81 Metacritic, it's some of the blurbs that are very interesting. It's some of the blurbs that are very divisive as well. People saying that, unfortunately, Death Stranding is a repetitive game. Unfortunately, it's just the fact that you are doing a lot of boring jobs in an open world. While it has engaging and original elements that is quite needed in a video game, the gameplay fails to impress. A lot of people are saying it's a dull, repetitive experience. There are people like Shiriko. He's saying that the game is way too easy and that it has pacing issues. Everyone is saying the same thing. It's like mental gymnastics over the fact that they want to say this game is good. They want to force themselves to like Death Stranding. There is elements that they do like, but it all does not come together in the end. It's like a strand. It just gets severed when the most important part of the game is the gameplay, and that's not being delivered to the critics. Now, for one, I don't give a shit about this game. I really didn't care about it when I talked about it a month ago, but I knew this stuff would happen because every single time Kojima will put out a presentation, every single time Kojima will put out a gameplay video, even if it's about an hour long, it just wasn't interesting. And a lot of people told me that, oh, just wait, you'll see there is layers upon layers of a complex game here to uncover and play with, but I just wasn't feeling it at the time. I knew this game was going to be quote unquote a fantastic mess, as people call it, and that's to me not good enough to warrant my $60 to buy said game. Now, an 80 score, that's not a bad score. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying there is something holding this game back, and I knew something was going to hold the game back from a gameplay perspective. I told people plain as day, this era of Kojima selling you on wacky ideas and wacky premises, and there really isn't a solid throughput of what to expect from a gameplay perspective, from a thematic perspective, and him having too much power rolling this into one video game would be a divisive premise, and it's coming out to be a divisive premise amongst the community, amongst the critics, amongst everyone. It's just so entertaining having a social media presence and being on Twitter and seeing all of this stuff unfold right before your eyes. It's like a giant catastrophe of people fighting back and forth once again and again over their favorite video game. If you don't like the fact that the reviews are saying this game is way too divisive, more power to you. Ignore said reviews, play the game yourself, and form your own opinions. But if those issues are there, do not be biased and do not force yourself to like it. Call those criticisms out, so in the future maybe Kojima will make a game with a lot more enticing gameplay like the previous Metal Gear Solid games. Who knows? We will see down the lines. As I said, Death Stranding has been an entertaining catastrophe from start, where it was initially interesting, to finish where we're here now and we have some divisive premises on our hands. I will also say that the drama about this game being like a multi-plat now, coming to PC, and Sony fanboys, Sony cocksuckers being so fucking angered about it is hilarious. It's like, when has a multi-plat ever been logically bad when people can get their hands on it from a wider perspective? When other people can play the game that's not just stuck to one platform and enjoy the experience and buy it, and more sales will hopefully reflect in that. When has that ever been a bad thing? I knew when they were flip-flopping about exclusivity on Death Stranding, I knew that it was coming to PC.
You have to either be an idiot or just a selfish prick to root for a game to be exclusive. As a consumer and a gamer, it benefits us to have games on as many platforms as possible. And if you're rooting for an exclusive, God, are you just a fucking moronic sheep? I want my platform to have all of the games, and I want your platform to have all of the games too. Because we're not jerks.
The idea of multiple consumers being able to buy said video game has never been terrible at all, and I don't understand the gross knee-jerk reaction to that idea that Death Stranding is coming to PC. The only time that it probably would be terrible is if this is a port for the Epic Game Store, and I know many people aren't feeling the Epic Game Store, and that is reasonable, or if it's just a bad port overall and you have to deal with the fact that you're playing a botched port over playing something like Death Stranding being pretty much okay on the PS4. We don't know yet because the game isn't released on those respective platforms, but I will say that there are images of Kojima taking pictures with Gaben, so there is hope that there will be a Steam port of Death Stranding on PC. The funniest thing about that is JTech TV, man. That guy is a Sony dick writer. It blows the mind when you really think about it. He's so wrong making all these predictions. If that guy was a fortune teller, he would be fired on his first day of work. I'm not kidding you. He said that Death Stranding was never coming to PC. He said that Crash Insane Trilogy was never coming to any other platforms, and he also said that Red Dead Redemption 2 was never coming to PC. I wouldn't trust this guy as far as I could throw him. He's probably like the worst YouTube channel for the PlayStation community of all time, and that's putting it mildly. All I gotta say about all this controversy is I knew I wasn't going to be invested into Death Stranding. I knew it wasn't a game for me, and that's okay. Sometimes there can be video games that doesn't appeal to certain people that I may like, that you may like, and we gotta take it in stride, you know? It's just opinions. Opinions are opinions. Everyone has one. Sometimes they could be full of crap, and sometimes people can pick and choose what they want to spend their hard-earned money on. It is interesting to see how this turnout is. If you are playing Death Stranding on launch, then by all means, go ahead and enjoy yourself. But I knew giving Kojima way too much power would lead to this. I knew that the pretentious nonsense and the wackiness would not reflect from a gameplay perspective as more gameplay came out, and there really wasn't a particular hook to the game outside of them talking about the Strand gameplay and how to connect to people. It seems like there's interesting tidbits about that as well, and others seem to like how the Strand gameplay works and how certain things work in the game and how there are some satisfying features to it, but ultimately I need good gameplay to supplement a game. A wacky story doesn't do it enough for me. A wacky story is not innovative to me. I need a good game and a great story on top of that to supplement the idea of purchasing said game and trying it out myself. Again, don't let reviews dictate all this nonsense. I might play Death Stranding down the line sometime on PC, which is going to be the superior version. Fanboys need to really stop all this nonsense trying to knock multiplats and saying that they are terrible. I don't get the logic there, but either way it goes, this is the verdict on Death Stranding now since it has been released. Will things ramp up even more once the gamers get their hands on it? Yeah, I think there will be those people that will not look at the criticisms and they will try to force themselves to overlook it. But once again, only time will tell. I'm tired as hell. And I just wanted to give my quick, unfiltered thoughts on this, since so many people were in my comment section a month ago saying how I was wrong, how this game was going to get a 95 on Metacritic. You snooze, you lose, people. You think you can get me, but the reality is, when I see the truth coming a mile away, I'm probably going to be correct on it, and if I am wrong, I will admit to fault. I will eat crow, but not this time, Kojima fanboys. Not this freaking time. No way in hell you could tell me that this man can create a 49-minute gameplay presentation and it just ends up to be not that interesting to all observers. It just feels so good to be right about some of the premises about Death Stranding just being kind of repetitive and a little bit dull. So I wanted to get that out of my system. It feels like great euphoria. I hope you guys are having a pleasant night, and I will see you guys next time. Later.